the cow. Today we are making this lovely long double strand rope cable. So called because we have these long strands in between, and these cables are longer than usual. They sort of go up longer, and as you can see it's a 2-strand rope, so 2 and 2, and it works up beautifully. You don't have to do many repeats of this to kind of get the pattern in your head and you know where you're going. So yeah, it might look complicated, but we'll just take it stitch by stitch, step by step, and produce this beauty. So grab your hook and yarn and a cup of tea and let's get started. And just one last thing to tell you before we get started is if you want to make this up into a bigger project like a blanket or something, the multiples for this is 11 plus 1, 11 stitches plus 1. So we've done 44 plus 1 and then plus 1 for a turning chain, so 45 stitches we have here. So 11 plus 1 is your multiple. Okay, so if you want to make it into a bigger project. So let's get started. Okay, to start today's stitch, you want to chain 46 chains. Okay, if you know how to do the chainless foundation single crochet, feel free to go straight ahead and make 45 of those single crochets. Okay. Otherwise, chain 46, pause the video, chain 46, and then we are going to single crochet into the second chain from the hook and single crochet all the way along. So as you know, I like to use the back bump of my stitches to leave the front nice and neat. So just second chain from the hook and all the way along, 45 single crochets. Pause the video and come and join me when you've done 45. I'll see you in a moment. And there we go, 45 single crochets. Okay, for row 2. Now the pattern says to chain 2 and use that as your first half double crochet. So you would chain 2 and then you would not do a stitch in your very first stitch, okay? But I actually prefer to chain 1 and then do a half double crochet in that very first stitch, okay? So that's how I'm doing that. Chain 1 and a half double crochet in that first stitch. So then you're going to do a half double crochet in every stitch along. As simple as that, a half double crochet in each stitch. So you will have 45 half double crochets at the end of this row. Pause the video and meet me back when you've finished. And there we go, 45 half double crochets. So now we are going to move on to row 3. Okay, row 3 is where we start to form the base of our cable design, and it is row 3 that you technically start your repeat from, but because this row is going to take a bit of sort of setting up and counting stitches, I'm going to show you the repeat later, because when you use it as your repeat row, if you remember from the previous videos, if you've watched those, you will be working around the post stitches that we've already made rather than into sort of just blank stitches, if you like. So if you've got the pattern and you see that it says to repeat rows 3 to 6, then I'm going to show you row 3 once more when we have those post stitches, okay? If that sounds completely confusing to you and you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry, just continue with the video and just watch as we go along and you'll be fine. This is just, if you're looking at the pattern, then you know that I'm going to show you that repeat later, okay? So if you don't know what I'm talking about, just continue and we'll be fine. Okay, and the only other thing to say about the pattern, if you are looking at the written pattern, remember that when it says chain 2 and count as your first half double crochet. Remember that I will be doing a chain 1 as a turning chain and then doing a half double crochet into the first stitch. So if you are looking at the pattern and it says that, it will also say at the end of the row half double crochet in the top of the chain 2. Well, just remember that's actually into the top of the half double crochet. Okay, that's the only difference if you are following the pattern as well as following me. Okay, so let's start row 3. So we're going to chain 1 as our turning chain and do a half double crochet in the first stitch and a half double crochet in the next stitch. And then we're going to do a front post double crochet around the post of the next stitch. So we've done post stitches before, so I'm just going to zoom the camera in, hopefully. Okay, I've zoomed in so you can see a bit more closely what I'm doing. So we're going to do a front post double crochet around the next stitch. Okay, so this stitch here, so we've got the 2 stitches at the bottom below what we've just done, and then this next stitch here, this is the post. Because we want to do a double crochet, we're going to yarn over, go in to the side, to the back and to the front, bringing this stitch forwards, and then we continue our double crochet as normal. Okay, and the reason we're doing a double crochet, not a half double crochet, is because we're going slightly lower, so it just brings these stitches to the same height. Okay, and then we're going to do a half double crochet in the next stitch. So remember, you'll have 1 stitch on this row not worked, because you don't work the stitch behind the post stitch. So if you're not sure, just have a look at the back and make sure you're skipping a stitch for that post, and then do a half double crochet in the next. Let me just double check that I haven't skipped 2. Okay, just skipped 1. Okay, just make sure of that. Okay, so we've just done a half double crochet in that next stitch. And then we're going to do a front post double crochet around the next 4 stitches. Okay, so remember, you're skipping this stitch next to your previous post, because that's where we did the half double crochet above. So the next one along, go from the front to the back and to the front, bringing that post to the front, and do your double crochet. And then you're going to do 3 more. Making 4 in total. So we've got 3 and we want 1 more. And there we go. So we've got 4 double crochet, front post double crochets. My camera chooses to focus. There we go. 4 front post double crochets. Okay, so then what we're going to do is a half double crochet in the next stitch. Remember that you will have 4 stitches left behind. Okay, so you can count those if you wish, or you can just lay your stitches nice and straight, and then you can see it's the next stitch along. But if you want to double check, just count them behind. Okay, so there will be 4 stitches not worked on the back there. Okay, and then we are going to do a front post double crochet around the next stitch. So remember, you're going to skip 1 stitch at the bottom because it's below your half double crochet, and do that front post double crochet at the next stitch. And then up on the top row, a half double crochet. So remember, you're always skipping a stitch for the post stitch, okay? So we did a front post double crochet, and then we've done a half double crochet, and then we're going to do another front post double at the bottom. So we'll be skipping 1 stitch below there. And then a half double crochet on the top row, and and then we're going to go back and do another front post double down at the bottom, so skip a stitch, remember, the one that's below the half double crochet. Do that front post double, and then we're going to do another half double crochet on the top row, and let's see how many we've got here. Let me just have a count and check the pattern. Okay, we are good, we are good. So, oops, you finished on a half double crochet. So now we're going to do the front post double crochet around the next 4 stitches. So skip the stitch below the half double and then do 4 front post double crochets. Okay, there we go. Now if you are following the pattern as well as the video to help you understand the pattern, you will have noticed that there are repeats within repeats, and that's what I was just checking for these 3 front posts and half double crochets. Okay, there are repeats within repeats, and that's when you just have to have another look at the pattern, take your time, check what stitches you've done, and then come back to the pattern. Okay, so just be aware of those repeats within repeats. Okay, take it step by step and you'll be fine. So following the pattern along the video could be quite helpful if you are trying to understand patterns as well. If you've not got the pattern, don't worry. Okay, so we've done 4 front post double crochets, and now we're going to do a half double crochet in the next stitch. Remember, you will have 4 stitches not worked at the back there. Okay, so now we are going to do another set of 3 of these front post and half double crochet. So front post double crochet around the next stitch, so leave the next one along, remember, so that's below the half double. So do a front post double crochet and then a half double crochet in the top, and then a front post on the next stitch, so skip a stitch at the bottom, do a front post double crochet, oops, getting caught up, and then a half double crochet on the top, and a final front post double crochet below. Remember, you have 1 stitch between because it's below the half double crochet, and then we're going to do 1 more half double crochet on the top row. Okay, so that was a repeat within repeat, and then we're going to do another 4 front post double crochets. So skip the stitch below and then 4 front post double crochets. Okay, and then a half double crochet in the next stitch, and we're going to do those 3 stitches that we did before. So skip a stitch at the bottom and then do a front post double crochet, and then a half double crochet, front post double, remember, skip a stitch, do your front post double, and then a half double crochet, and then another front post double crochet, and a final half double crochet. Okay, and then we're going to do another set of 4, so 4 double crochet, front post double crochets, and then a half double crochet, and then a front post double crochet around the next stitch, and a half double crochet, and then a final half double crochet in your last stitch. And this is where on the pattern it will say in the top of your chain 2, but as we did a stitch, we're just going to do a half double crochet in the top of that last stitch. And there we go. This is what your row should be looking like. It's quite difficult to pick it up on camera. I'll try and move it along so you can see. And to show you the back, you've got these sets of 4 skipped stitches and then the alternate 1 stitches skipped. Okay, that's how it should be looking. Okay, let's move on to row 4. Okay, row 4. We're going to be doing back post double crochets, and they are going to be around the stitches that we did as the front posts. Okay, well, some of the front posts, because we're going to try and make that cable vertical bars. Okay, the ones that go up. So what we're going to do is chain 1 for our turning chain, and then a half double crochet in the first stitch, and then we're going to do a half double crochet in the next stitch, and then a back post double crochet around the next stitch. So this is our post stitch. Okay, so got a little bit of that showing there. If you look over the top, you can see that's the post stitch. So we're going to do a back post. So we go put our hook in from the back to the front, and then we go over that post and push it to the back, and then complete your stitch as usual. And what this will do, if I turn it around, it makes this vertical bar continue up. Okay, if we did it as a front post, it would push it back and it wouldn't be a continuous bar. So then we're going to do a half double crochet in the next stitch, and this is much easier to see this time because you can see your stitches clearly. So remember, you leave a stitch that was for your post stitch and then go into the next stitch. Okay, so you've got an unworked stitch there. She says, let's leave a stitch. So remember to leave a stitch and then go into the next. Okay, always double check if you're not sure. And then we are going to do a back post double crochet around the next 4 stitches. So that's these 4 front posts that we have on the other side. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, again continuing those posts upwards, and then you're going to do a half double crochet in the next stitch, remembering to leave 4 unworked stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, and go into the next stitch with a half double crochet. And then we're going to do a back post double crochet around the next stitch, and a half double crochet in the next. So remember, you're always leaving a stitch and then working into the next. So you're actually working into the left of the stitch. Okay, and then we're going to do another back post double crochet. This is kind of the reverse of what we did on the other side. We did front post and then a stitch and then a front post and then a stitch. So then we're going to do a half double crochet in the next stitch. Remember to skip one, work in the next stitch, half double crochet, and one more back post double crochet, and a half double crochet the next stitch. Okay, and then we're going to do back post double crochet around the next 4 stitches. One, 2, 3, and 4, and then a half double crochet in the next stitch. Remember to leave 4 unworked stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a half double crochet in the 5th. Okay, and then we're going to do that back post half double crochet, back post half double crochet. So back post double crochet the next stitch, and then a half double crochet in the next stitch. So remember, skip a stitch and half double crochet in the next. Okay, and then back post double crochet, and then a half double crochet, and one more back post double crochet, and another half double crochet in the top. Remember to skip a stitch. Okay, and then we're going to do another 4 back post double crochets. You can see the pattern working, how we do that 4 and then those 3 alternate stitches. Okay, that back post didn't work out quite how I wanted it to. Let's try that again. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and then we're going to do a half double crochet in the next stitch. Remember to skip 4 stitches before you do your half double crochet. Okay, and then we're going to do a back post double crochet, and skip a stitch on that top row and do a half double crochet in the next. Back post double crochet, skip a stitch and a half double crochet in the top. Back post double, skip a stitch on the top and half double in the next. And back to 4 double crochets, 4 back post double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then a half double crochet in the next. Remember to skip 4 stitches and do that half double crochet. And then we're going to do a back post double crochet and 2 double crochets, sorry, 2 half double crochets to finish our last 2 stitches. And there we go. That is the end of row 4. That's the back of your work, and if you turn it over, you can see at the front we've got these posts working up nicely, and they are continuing up from having them 2 rows on top of each other. Okay, so you can see these skip stitches above the previous skip stitches, and that's exactly how it should be, 4 stitches above the previous 4 skip stitches, and that's exactly how it should look. Perfect. So let's turn over and move on to row 5. Okie dokie, row 5, chain 1, make sure your work's turned around, and we're going to start some of those crossed over cable stitches. So half double crochet in your first stitch and half double crochet in the next stitch. Okay, and then we're going to do a front post double crochet around the post of the next stitch. So that's that back post that we did on the previous round. Okay, so this one here. So front post double crochet around that stitch, and then a half double crochet in the next stitch. Okay, and then we are going to skip 2 stitches. So that's 2 of these post stitches we've got here. Skip 2 of those, and then we're going to do a front post double crochet around the next 2 stitches. Okay, so front post double crochet around these next 2 stitches. Okay, so they're sort of slightly slanted there. You can see they're going across there. And then we are going to do a front post double crochet around our 2 skipped stitches. Okay, and we're going to go in front of these stitches. So just do your front post double crochet over the top into your first skipped stitch, or around your first skipped stitch, and then the next post stitch. Okay, so they are crossing over like so. Okay, and then we're going to do a half double crochet in the next stitch. And just make sure you're skipping those next 2 stitches and do a half double crochet. Checking which is the top. To the left. Okay, and then a front post double crochet around the next stitch, and then a half double crochet the next stitch. You remember this from 2 rows ago. Front post double crochet, and then a half double crochet, and a front post double crochet, and a half double crochet. Okay, there we go. We've done those 3 vertical bars. So we have our crossed overs, and then we have our 3 vertical bars. Okay. And then we are going to skip the next 2 post stitches, and we're going to do a front post double crochet around each of the next 2 post stitches, just as we did at the beginning. Okay, and then we're going to cross over the front and do the 2 that we skipped as front post double crochets. Okay. There we go, and then a half double crochet in the next stitch along. And then we're going to do that front post double crochet around the next, and then a half double crochet, front post double, half double crochet, front post double crochet, half double crochet. The beauty about this row now when we work is that we're working post stitches around post stitches, and it's just so much easier, isn't it? So much easier. Okay, and then we're back to our 4 post stitches. So skip the first 2 and do a front post double around the next 2. cross over the front and go to the 2 that you skipped and do your front post double crochet. Okay, and then a half double crochet in the next stitch along. Grab some more yarn. Okay, and then a front post double crochet, half double crochet, front post double, a half double, and one more front post double. Okay, and your final half double. Okay, then we're back to our last 4 front posts, so skip the first 2 and do a front post double around each of the next 2. Okay, cross back over and do a front post double around the first skipped stitch and a front post double around the next stitch. There we go. And then a half double crochet in the next stitch along, a front post double, and a final 2 half double crochets to finish off that row. And there we go. There are our cable stitches working up beautifully. If they're pulling in slightly, just give it a tug to stretch it out. But working up beautifully. There we go. This is some of the crossed over ones. Okay, so row 6 is our last row of repeats. So this finishes off our pattern. So let's do row 6. Okay, so row 6. Chain 1, turn your work over and half double crochet in the first 2 stitches. And a back post double crochet around the next stitch. Now there will be 2 stitches quite close together. Just make sure you get the first one. So back post, we go in from the back, push it to the back and do a double crochet and a half double crochet in the next stitch. Remember to skip a stitch. Just skip a stitch here and do your half double crochet in the next. And then we're going to do back post double crochet around the next 4 stitches. Now these are the post stitches we did, okay, so it may seem slightly confusing as to where to find your stitches. Do your yarn over for your back post, for your double crochet, put your hook from back to front and then find your first stitch, okay, and then just find your first stitch along, which will be the last stitch you made of that. So when you went back to the skip stitches and did your double crochets, it will be the last one you made, okay. Do that double crochet and then I'm going to do a second back post double crochet. So again, this will be the next stitch along, okay. So it might be easier to just actually look over the top. So I've got mine sort of folded back over, so it's tilting it. Go around that post, okay, like so, and then do your double crochet, like so, okay. So those first 2 back post double crochets we did were for our stitches that came across when we went to our skipped stitches, okay. The next 2 will be the first 2 that we made. So we are going to work these two that we made first. If I come to one that we haven't worked yet, so we did two here when we skipped our stitches. Okay, we skipped these two and did these first two here. Okay, so we need to get to these stitches. I'm showing you this one because I haven't got the other stitches in the way. We need to get to these two stitches that are behind these ones. Okay, so it's not simple depending on how tight you've crocheted, but do your yarn over for your double crochet and then come behind these stitches you've just made, and what you want to do is sort of have a fiddle with your work and come in from the back, she says, try and just squish all your stitches down and then find that first stitch coming from the back and then over the top and through. Okay, it can be a bit fiddly, but once you've done it a few times you'll get the hang of it. Okay, so just find that first stitch, so just wiggle your work down, give it a pull, find that first one. Okay, and I've just lost mine again. So find that first one and pop your hook around like so. Okay, just have a little look, pause the video and have a little look if you need to at where your stitch is, and then complete your double crochet. Okay, and then you should have one more there. You can just see it poking out there, so go around there, get that stitch. Okay, so you've got your 4 front post, back post from this side. Okay, so again you've got your 4 stitches here that we're skipping above the other 4, the other rows. Like I said, they should all line up. So if I turn this over, you can see the camera focus. You can see you've got your stitches going over and then you've got some coming up straight. Okay, camera. So you just need to pull your work around and find those stitches. So I'll show you that again on the next set. So half double crochet in the next stitch. Remember, you need to skip 4 stitches. So this is your half double crochet. You want to go into the left of that. Okay, that's where your stitch will be. And then you're going to do a back post around the next stitch, a back post double, sorry, and then a half double crochet in the next, back post double. These ones are the easy ones, and then a half double crochet. And just check where I'm going. There we go. Make sure you're going into the right stitch, and then a back post double, and then a half double crochet. That should be 3. 1, 2, 3. There we go. So now we're back to our 4 back post double crochets. So the first 2 are nice and simple. They're here to the right, so we can just actually turn this over and go around the first one like so, and do your back post double crochet around that first one. Okay, and then the second one you can just turn and go under there, nice and simple. Okay, and now the next 2 are these 2 that are sort of slightly hidden under here. Okay, turn it, have a look, determine where they are if you're not quite sure, and then give your work a little pull if you need to, and then pop your hook from behind, and then go over that stitch. Have a look at the back, see that you've got that stitch, and then go through. Okay, and then the next one should be a bit easier. Okay, that's how you're doing those 4 back posts. It might seem a bit tricky, but once you have the hang of it, it does become a lot easier. And I have not gone around the right place on that one, so I'm just going to do that last one again. So if it doesn't look right, just do it again. Have a look before you move on to the next part of your work, just to make sure you're doing the right place. There we go, that looks better, much better. Okay, so let me show you the rest of this row, and then we'll move on. Okay, so we are now going to do a half double crochet in the next stitch. And then we're going to do our back post double crochet. Needle hook has got caught somewhere. So back post double crochet and then a half double crochet. And then a back post. And then a half. And then a back post double. And then a half. And if we've done 1, 2, 3, there we go. 1, 2, 3. So we're back to doing our 4 back post doubles. So the first 2, I just like to look over the top and go under that first one. And the second one. And then the third one. We need to have a little bit more of a look for that. So third one, just going to pull this down, have a look. Okay, third one is just here. There we go. And the fourth one. There we go, just have a double look, double check. Super. Half double crochet in the next stitch along. And a back post double. And then a half double crochet. Back post double. Half double crochet, back post double, half double crochet, and we're back to our 4 back post doubles again. So over the front, do the first one and the second. And then we're going to find the third, which will be just, it will be just in here. There we go. And the fourth one. Okay, and a half double crochet, and then a back post double crochet, and final 2 half double crochets. There we go, that's the end of row 6. So again we have these stitches that look like they've been skipped. It's 4 stitches that look like they've been skipped, but it's because we have them at the front. So there we go. You can see these cables moving over and then coming up straight. There we go. Okay, now it might not look like much. It might look like a lot of work for little to see little, but the more we work this up, the more it will show the pattern and it will become gorgeous, gorgeous. Okay, now you're going to work the pattern up until your work becomes approximately 1/4 of an inch shorter than the width, because if you want to make this square, that is. So measure across, and if you'd got, say, if it was a 12-inch square, which these make approximately 12 inches. If it's 12 inches, then you want to work up to 11 3/4, okay? If it was 11.5 inches across, you'd work up to 11 1/4, okay? So you want to repeat this pattern until you get to 1/4 of an inch shorter than your width, if you're making a square. If you're not making a square and you're just going and going and going, then you just want to, when your work is almost as tall as you want it to be, then stop and do the final rows to finish, okay, which will be in a moment or two. Hopefully somewhere here I'll put a time marker that you can skip to. But I do also need to show you row 3 to start this repeat again, to continue working the row 3, 4, 5 and 6, because row 3 is worked slightly differently than the original row 3. Okay, so there will be a time marker in just a moment if you need to skip to do the last rows, but if you are doing your repeats, then continue watching for row 3. Okay, so row 3, which is the first row of the repeat, you are going to do a chain 1, turn your work and do a half double crochet in the first 2 stitches. Okay, and then a front post double crochet around the next stitch, so that's where you've already got your front post stitch. And then a half double crochet in the next stitch. And then we're going to do 4 front post double crochets. So that's around these 4 that we did on the previous row. Okay, around those 4 posts. 4 front post double crochets. Okay, and then a half double crochet in the next stitch. And then we're going to do our alternates, front post double crochet, half double crochet, front post double, half double, front post double, and then a half double crochet. And then we're back to our 4 front post double crochets, and you can basically see on this pattern now, you can see where you need to be working, because you can see those 3 upright posts here, you can see those 3, and then you can see when you get to your 4, so it's much easier now to see just where you're going, and it kind of becomes obvious where you're going to be working. Okay, so then we need to do a half double crochet in the next stitch, and then we're going to do our alternates again, front post double, half double crochet, front post double, half double, front post double, half double. Oops. And you're back to your 4 front posts again. Okay, so 4 front post double crochets, and then a half double crochet on the top, and then a front post double, half double, front post double, half double, oops, in the top. I nearly went around the post there. Front post double, half double, and now 4 front post doubles. Okay, and then a half double crochet, a front post double, and 2 half double crochets to finish the row. How much easier was that when you'd already got the post stitches to work around? So much easier. There we go. So now you can see the twist of this working up nicely. You can see how that's twisting. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Love it. Okay, so you now need to rewind back to that repeat that I showed you, and I put that repeat marker at the start there for row 4, and then but I will put a time marker in just a second for you. So you want to rewind and do rows 4, 5 and 6, and then if you're continuing you'll do the 4, 5 and 6 and then this one, and then you'll keep repeating this row 3, 4, 5 and 6, row 3, rewind, 4, 5, 6, row 3, rewind, 4, 5, 6, until you get to 1/4 of an inch shorter if you're doing it as a square. Okay, and then when you get to that row 6, when it's going to be your final row, there is that time marker which you've already seen. You'll skip to the next part to continue. So have fun with this. Take your time and just make sure you're working into the right stitches, especially when you come to do those back posts. And I will see you to finish this off in just a moment. So this is what my work looks like. Haven't done that repeat a second time. So I've done 3, 4, 5 and 6 a second time, and you can see it's now these cables look like they're kind of going up and under and over, so sort of up and up, over, up and under. If I bring that in, here you go, you can see they look like they come up, over, up and under. And the more repeats you do, it will just look like it's going up and under all the way. So there we go. All that's left to do when you reach your desired height is to do a row of half double crochets to finish off. It just kind of locks in these cables nicely. It gives you a nice neat row, just like we started with. And that is it. So to do your last row, you just want to chain 1, turn your work and do a half double crochet in every stitch along. So you should have 45 half double crochets to finish this row. So that is it. I might have said there was 2 rows to finish. I was getting confused between this one and the next pattern, so there is only one, just this half double crochet row just to finish it off. So all that's left for me to say while I'm making this is I hope you found this tutorial useful and helpful. I hope that if you make this you will pop a photo up in our Facebook group, Beyond the Cowl. There is a link to that in the description box below there, a link to Beyond the Cowl. Come and join us there and show us your photos of what you've made. We love to see what you've made. And if you're not on Facebook, then if you're on Instagram, you can upload it with the hashtag Beyond the Cowl. That would be great. Beyond the Cowl hashtag. And show your photos there. It would be great to get more photos on there. We don't have a lot at the moment, and even I forget to upload my photos sometimes. If you are interested in more of our cable stitch patterns, there are more on the playlist, which is also in the description box below. And have a look there. Have a look at the rest of the playlists for all the stuff we've been doing this year, and see what you fancy making. So I'm nearly at the end of this row. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, then consider clicking on that button and subscribing. We try and upload our videos about an hour before they go live in the group, but it doesn't always happen, and sometimes we're a bit late. We've been a bit late with some of these recently due to sort of health and family commitments. So as you probably would say yourself, family comes first. So if you found this tutorial useful and helpful and you've enjoyed crocheting along with me, then please click that like button, give us a thumbs up, and share the love. So until next time, just keep hooking and don't let your tea get cold.